supposedly supposed to have the best of the best and the greatest of minds, in their company, and none of them can come up with an actual great way to, um, like minimize the cost as much as possible and still make a great game at the same time, and not feel the need to, or find ways to not come up with things at the expense of the customer. That is just the issue with it. They keep not focusing on what they can do to improve on their back end, and they care more about how they can milk us for every penny we're worth on just one single title.
Yeah, and that's what it feels like with with this game. So, Square, stop it. That's all I can say. Don't do this anymore.
The main Final Fantasy team and the higher ups that look past it, yeah, stop it.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe
Dragon Quest team, Final Fantasy 14 team, AA team, you're great. Keep doing what you're doing.
Yeah, but the
Final Fantasy team, get your blank
yeah
and check.
Yeah. Well, what scares me is just that, all these other teams are doing great until those games are like huge sellers, and then they'll just do the same thing with those. I'm surprised they haven't done it with Dragon Quest, but I think that's because the West hasn't been that interested in Dragon Quest.
Oh, the higher ups, I can guarantee you, the higher ups do not mess with the Dragon Quest team, but so much, because Yuji Horii and the main head of Dragon Quest since the very first game, and the composer and the artist for that game are all still there. They are still making these games, and they are still consistently good. I can at least attest that for Dragon Quest 1 through 9. Unfortunately, 10 never came here, but from what I heard, that 10 was a good game in Japan. But and 11's getting praised to death from people. They say both the 3DS version and the PS4 version are fantastic, and Dragon Quest is the biggest like RPG, like that, and I believe that and Pokemon and Final Fantasy are like the biggest RPG titles in Japan, from last I remember. And people go crazy over Dragon Quest, and that is something that makes a ton of money, at least in Japan, for Square Enix.
Mm-hmm.
So I do not believe that the higher ups are going in and telling Yuji Horii, this is what you have to do. Because Yuji Horii would be like, no, I'm going to do what I want to do, and you're going to give me what I need for it. And they're going to be like, okay.
Well, I think Square's kind of learned its lesson with, when you have the series creator and like the composer and the artist, and they're all still happy working for your company, let's not like mess with it, because like they can leave, I mean, with Sakaguchi and then Nobuo leaving Square, and Final Fantasy has never really been the same since. Strangely enough,
That's another issue I have is, as your company, if you have like the team that made Final Fantasy 1 through 10 great, or like have like